How are we going, everybody? Hope you're having a good morning so far. And it's another beautiful week for us down here in Victoria. We've got a nice calm day ahead of us. And we're going to have a bit of fun in the garden. But in the meantime, I'm going to talk about our easy hand sprayer, because a lot of emails have come through and asking about servicing and just further details on how it works and whether they can change the O-rings and what all the stuff is that comes in the bag or the packaging with it. So this is a complete unit once it's installed and completed. Actually, what we're missing is the little filter at the bottom. I haven't got one here. It's called a filter net on the packaging. It sits on the end of that there of the hose, because if you're using a bluestone copper sulfate and a hydrated lime mix, which is a powder, sometimes you don't mix it properly or it just doesn't dissolve completely, and you can get particles coming up to block, which is what we call here the nipple. So you may get a particle or two, and if you can zoom in closely, I'm not sure if that has got anything in there, the little nipple there, sometimes you may get a particle or two that gets caught up in that. And what that does is obviously blocks the sprayer. Sometimes not completely, it could probably just block it on one of the actions, whether it's on the pull or the push. And you'll find you might be pulling and it's spraying, but when you're pushing, it's not spraying out, or vice versa. So to clean it out, obviously take the hose off, blow in there like this, and that should be as simple as it is. Or otherwise, if it's a large piece, get yourself a pin or some sort that's really fine, or a wire, and just wriggle it around inside there just to dislodge the particle. Or even better, get some hot water in the bottle and spray it through, and the hot water will dissolve any sort of solids that are getting caught up inside. Now that's the simplest part. The other part also is the spray heads. Now we talk about swivel heads, which are these spray heads like this here. They can move up and down. So if I'm holding this on a horizontal level like that, I can spray downwards and upwards, or both down, whichever way I like. Now if you need to remove them, it's really simple. 180-degree turn facing towards the handle, and they should just slide off like that. So that's the method of removing them. And you do the same on the other side, and they just pop off. Now you have two little O-rings in here, and that comes with the packet itself, meaning there's two O-rings plus two spare O-rings for the spray heads for you to replace. But it's hardly ever a time that you need to. If your spray head does block, simply unscrew the cap and clean it out. And you can see I've been spraying bluestone copper sulfate mixed with hydrated lime. So that's the remnants of my spraying. So cleaning it out is as simple as that. Now that's the second place where it may get a blockage. And we're talking about particles. Now it's only going to get a blockage if you're using a powder of some sort to dissolve in water and you haven't dissolved it properly. Like I said, use a little bit of warm water or hot water to clean it. Or when you do actually mix the solution the first time, mix it with some warm water in a cup of warm water, then add the cold water. And once you have dissolved all the particles properly, all the powders properly. Now another thing that can happen with these, and that's other than that, there's really nothing else that can happen besides, see this part here? I call this the pumping rod, and this is the shaft. So that rod goes inside the shaft, and we've got an end cap which is threaded, a screwable or unscrewable end cap like that there. So when we talk about the pump rod, that's what I'm referring to, and the shaft. Now inside the rod, or at the end of this rod, is what we call a plunger. Now we've got a seal here just as a guide for the rod so it doesn't wobble around. So just taking that off, you'll see there's a rubber O-ring on the outside and one on the inside, which are replaceable. Now as I take this out, this is what we call the plunger, and there's a rubber ring on that as well. Now that there is what causes the suction and pushing and vacuum action within inside the sprayer. Now if you have a problem, and I'm going to demonstrate on this old one here because I've been tampering with this one. It still works, have a look at that, beautiful, no problems. So we're going to take the plunger off this, and this is what can happen with your sprayer quite easily. See the plunger? Now that is just connected like that, and it unscrews quite simply. That's the guide which you can take off as well, like that there. Now the other half of the O-ring on this one is inside there. So we've got an O-ring on the outside, remember that, O-ring on the inside. Now what can happen with yours is this plunger becomes dislodged, and I'm just going to push it inside all the way like that. Okay, so it's in there, and I've seen people, or I've seen emails come through of people saying to me, and I'm just going to set it up for the demonstration, is where they're going to pump and this is what happens. You missed that one, I'll show you again. As they go to pump, Look at that. It's not pumping, it's not working, nothing's happening, right? And then they pull it out all the way, extend the rod out all the way, like this, and it comes off. You end up with a rod here with no plunger on the end, and obviously the end caps come off as well, which is still attached to the end of the shaft. So what you've got to do is quite simply and carefully is take off the end cap, the little guide that sits over the shaft itself, and keep it aside. Now I've got 2 O-rings in there as well. Put it aside, don't drop them. And we know inside here in the shaft is the plunger. So I'm going to take it from the bottle, take it off from the bottle like this, and all you've got to do is, as you can see, clean shaft, no attachments on it, drop it inside, got a guide there, all the way, shake it down a few times. We're trying to work with a bit of gravity, and we twist in a clockwise direction, hoping that we connect the plunger. There it is. See that there? We've just connected it back on. Now it's not on tight. What you've got to do is grab a hold of it, I suppose with a towel or something. I'm using my jacket, and screw it on super tight so it doesn't come off again, right? And a little bit of Vaseline or grease if you have. And don't do what I just did. I forgot to put this back on. It won't fit. So we've got to unscrew the plunger. See, that's super tight now. Yeah, folks, I don't get it right all the time either, all right? I might just eat another tomato instead. Take that off, put the end cap on. There's the O-ring, if you can see, sliding that on too, on the outside, like that. Put that on, which is a guide, and then our plunger, which screws on tight, super tight like that. You get the end, and we've got a little guide inside, which is a little straw, and that's where the liquid comes through. Slide that back in, push that in tight like that, slide the cap on, screw it on. All right, I haven't put any Vaseline on this, so it's going to be a little bit dry. I've been handling it a bit too much. It'll need to be vased up or greased up. Screw your cap back on, and let's hope it works, eh? Back to normal, there we are. Too easy, folks. Adjust it to the length you want, close and far. We can pump at least 5-6 meters. I can reach all the way down to my veggies down there. Not that I need to spray them from here. And that's your easy hand sprayer. These are the basic things that can happen to it, the very simple service that you need to do on it. Nothing else can really go wrong with this other than you stepping on it by accident or driving over it or putting the wrong product inside that can corrode the brass on it. So if you've got a problem with your easy hand sprayer, refer to this video. That's the easiest way to service it. And if it's something else completely, obviously you can send us an email. Now check it all out at Vasili'sGarden.com, and because I'm talking about it this morning, I'm going to put them on special. I don't think the online team know about this yet, but I'm going to knock them down to $10. How's that, eh? From $23.95, $10 today only. Get online, order your easy hand sprayer, and if you need some servicing, you can watch this video over and over again. From me, Vasili, Maresi. Hey, Cara. Sorry, sweetheart. I didn't mean to do that. I love you. Come here, come on, come on, come here. Come here, sweetheart. Come here, come here. I'm not going to touch you. Come here. Oh, my good girl. You're my good girl. Now, where's Vader? Oh, yeah, all right. I'll wet you, now you wet me.